America's 3,069 county governments provide fundamental services for building healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. We are an intergovernmental partner, implementing federal and state policies at the local level, often under strict rules and funding constraints. County governments, through the National Association of Counties, engage federal policymakers on a range of issues like transportation, infrastructure, healthcare, public safety, and public lands management. All of these issues are vital to our nation's quality of life and our long-term prosperity. Decisions made by the White House, Congress, and federal courts have a major cascading impact on our ability to lead our communities and pursue a better future. Let's look at why federal policies matter to county government and why county government matters to America. Counties provide vital services that keep our communities thriving and secure. We own and maintain 45% of roads and 4 out of 10 bridges. We own more than a third of the airports and hundreds of hospitals and thousands of courthouses, jails, 911 call centers, and libraries. We play a critical role during emergencies like hurricanes, floods, and snowstorms. What if you called 911 and no one answered? What if you couldn't reach your medical facility because roads and bridges were in disrepair or never built? County governments are an indispensable part of the infrastructure and services that keep residents safe and connected. But with very limited revenue options under most state constitutions and laws, counties must make every penny count in order to fulfill federal and state mandates and required responsibilities. Nothing is more basic in our society than essential public facilities like schools, hospitals, airports, jails, bridges, and other infrastructure. Yet proposals have surfaced to eliminate or scale back tax-exempt municipal bonds. For over a century, municipal bonds have been the lifeblood for our nation's public infrastructure, helping finance more than $3.7 trillion in essential projects. If tax-exempt municipal bonds were eliminated or scaled back, county governments and our residents.
Hey, welcome back. We are up and running. Welcome back to the July 20th, Wednesday, July 20th, 2022 meeting. We are actually, it's crazy, but we're just starting in discussion/action item 6A. We kind of jumped around, so Roadmaster Signature Authority for $20,000 grant to from AOC for engineering support of several road department bridge and storm grant applications. Richard Christensen.
Thank you, Board. Good afternoon. A couple of months ago, AOC put out a grant opportunity for small counties like us to receive funding up to $20,000. Good afternoon.
You just take off where you were.
Okay. Anyways, AOC a couple months ago offered a grant opportunity for up to $20,000 for engineering support for bridge and stormwater grants. And so road department, we applied for that funding and it was awarded. And road department's asking for Roadmaster Signature Authority for that $20,000 for Dyer Partnership to help us chase $19 million to $26 million of bridge and stormwater grants.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair. Congratulations, by the way.
Any questions, Chris? Comments, discussion? Up to 20,000.
Yeah, it's in the packet. You'll see the AOC letter, but you'll also see a list of projects where we have 3 bridges that are load restricted right now that we would like to get replaced. And then you'll see where we have 2 fish passage projects on North Bank Checo River Road that we would like to turn into bridges for fish passage and complication for stormwater maintenance. And then you'll also see that the last item is $3 to $4 million of Brookings Harbor
Port.
stormwater project combined with the road department. And I've reached out to the port for the Curry County Board to visit with the port board to talk about these projects, if we get awarded, what that process is going to be. And so right now, it's just, this is the first step, is that we hire Dyer, we approve the grant for $20,000. Next step, we hire Dyer for up to $20,000 to deliver those grants. And then if those grants are awarded, thank you, then road department would place matching funds in future budgets.
Okay, we got a motion. I'll second it. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Second thing is 6B, approved $250,000 of ARP funds towards purchase of 12 Ram quad pickups, 4x4s, and 1 all-wheel drive Durango.
Can I approach your board? I'd like to hand
Yeah.
you some new handouts of the business plan that was updated.
Sure.
This is the same plan I brought to the manager's meeting. I have a few more copies if the audience would like one. There might be two there.
I got one.
Okay, and so this started out as a road department request to borrow $600,000 or loan $600,000 to the general fund, but the ORSs didn't allow that. Then 2 weeks ago, the road department came back again and asked for $600,000 of ARP funds, and we talked about that, and the board said, hey, let's cut that in half, and Pash said $250,000. But let's look, I need a business plan and more information. And so I kind of talked about this at the last managers meeting. And so the thing is that the request is for 13 vehicles, but only 7 of them are going to be with ARP funds. And the other 6 are with the current approved budget, 22-23 budget. And so that spreadsheet you have in front of you, sorry I didn't highlight it like mine, but it shows, let's go back a page. Let's go to the replacement plan, and it shows the 6 vehicles from the 22-23 budget. And those are vehicles that are 4 motor pool vehicles and 1 for the assessor and 1 for the building department. And in the business plan, is that those will be replaced, and it will cost $204,000 to replace those with all new Dodge Ram quad cab 4x4s and a Durango. But Enterprise had estimated last August that we could sell those old vehicles, and some of them are 2019, so they're really perfect time to sell them, for $52,000. And Kelly, $52,000. But when we researched it on Kelly Blue Book, and we put the values in with our new senior accounting specialist, John Wills, who used to do this for a living before he came to the road department, he pulled out Kelly Blue Book using conservative values of $63,000 if we were to sell them right now, which is better than what Enterprise had proposed last year. And so, anyways, then we go down to the second row of vehicles. Those are 7 vehicles. Those are the ones that the road department would like to use $250,000 of road ARP funds. And in there, you'll see 7 vehicles, and one is for the aquatic safety officer. He doesn't have a vehicle. He's been using a road vehicle and a parks vehicle. Then the other one, and he had no money in the budget to get him a vehicle. replace the building vehicle, another one of theirs, which is an old high-maintenance vehicle that has a lot of problems. Then replace code enforcement, who they're using also an old road department vehicle, and to give them a vehicle that they didn't have budget for. Add another code enforcement vehicle for the code enforcement officer you just hired that we don't have a vehicle for. Add an emergency services vehicle for Monica Ward that has no vehicle. She has a vehicle, but it's a broke down vehicle, and she has to use her own vehicle and go through the process of getting 30 cents per mile because her vehicle is available. She can't trust it to go anywhere. So replace juvenile 2009 Charger and replace Parks Ford F-350 pickup. And so looking at that is that's where that $250,000 would go for. So what we did is we took these prices for what the vehicles are worth now, like all the 2019 vehicles using really good conservative values out of Kelley Blue Book. The 3 Dodge Rams that we're going to sell in this package, each of those have over $6,000 equity in them today, according to Kelley Blue Book. The two Ford Escapes all-wheel drive, they only have $569 of equity. So that kind of shows you why you want to buy quad cab 4x4s, because the equity is what we're looking to drive this program in the future, so that we don't have to use any general funds to buy vehicles in the future. Eventually, this will be a self-driven program through equity and through, through proper vehicle asset management. And I just want to back up a second here too. That Samsara presentation, that's part of this packet. And I've been working on that since January. Monica Ward came up to me and goes, "Hey, Rich, there's a grant available for vehicle asset management systems." And so I said, "Well, interesting." So I contacted Samsara, and they had a government program. They also are Sourcewell, and they gave us a 6-month trial, and I put it on my truck. And we talked about that today, so you could see what I was doing and everything. But that Samsara, the goal would be for the road department and everybody but sheriff department, all these new vehicles that we're proposing to buy, this equipment would be in there. So that way there's public trust. Everybody knows where that vehicle's been, or only the people that you choose to know, whether it's the dispatch or whoever, but you'll be able to contact whoever. Maybe the dispatch would probably be the best person to do this, so that anybody could contact dispatch or department head to find out where their vehicle is at. But also too is when we go to sell that vehicle, a link could be put into public surplus, so the person buying that vehicle could look at that vehicle and say, "You know what, they took good care of that vehicle. It's only got this many miles on it. It's never been in an accident." And it'll help that resale that we're talking about, that we've already proven. In 3 years, a Dodge Quad Cab 4x4 has over $6,000 of equity, according to Kelley Blue Book conservative values. So this is the business plan, and these are the vehicles. And there's 8 more vehicles that we still really need to replace, but right now we're just going to concentrate on 7 vehicles with ARP funds for $250,000, and that's what the request is.
Okay. Questions?
Just, if I may.
Sure.
2 meetings ago, you mentioned, I think it was 19, 20, 21 vehicles total. That was about $600,000, if I recall. Give or take.
Yeah, give or take.
So you've whittled that down. You identified some pretty serious needs in assessor code enforcement, aquatic safety. Is there any of those you left out that we might want to be reminded?
Yes, okay, on your sheet there, I didn't highlight those, but I have them highlighted on mine. There's 3 that we really should sell right now, but we don't have the money to replace them because they're ripe for selling. Those are the 2019 Escape all-wheel drive and 2 Ram quad cabs. That is what we really should be this would be the time to do it, but we just don't have the money to do it, so we're gonna hold on to them for another year. But there's also there's a Silverado in community development that we need to get replaced. We also need to get an Impala, an 08 Impala from Juvenile Department, and that Chevrolet was 08. We also have a 2013 crew cab in Juvenile, a Jeep, a 2016 Jeep in Juvenile, 2016 all-wheel drive, 4-door in Juvenile, and we would like to replace the veterans truck, because if you look on the spreadsheet, just look at the last one. This kind of tells the story here. On the spreadsheet, if you just look down at the bottom, it says Ram 1500 quad cab veterans. Okay, it's only got 12,000 miles on it. He's had it for 3 years. Enterprise last year in August said it was worth $26,500. Okay, we bought that for $23,500.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right now Kelly Blue Book and Service says it's worth almost $32,000. That's what we're talking about here, equity. And so, but anyways, you know, that's next year's budget. That's going to be the next year's item to get those last 8 into this program. But with the 6 vehicles that are already in the budget this year, and if we could get approval for $250,000 of ARP funds, we get 7 more to get a good jump on this, and then next year we could clean it up.
One more.
I just have
Chris?
a question. Is that getting rid of the old Tauruses and all that? I know Commissioner Boyce still has a Taurus, but I signed an invoice on that a few months ago or a month ago that we put money into that car, and if we're buying new cars,
Yeah,
Why
Is
do
that
we
the
still
top
have-
one? The 2005?
Yes, that thing gets incredible gas mileage. It was $98. I'm going to say again, I already offered you on this, Commissioner Pash. It was for windshield wipers, a taillight replacement, air filter, full service, and a vacuum and a wash. It was $98. I'm going to get you that invoice. That rig has been absolutely maintenance-free thanks to your people.
to answer your question, Commissioner Pash, yes. If you look on that second sheet for the replacement plan, both Tauruses are to be replaced per
thank
budget.
you for answering the question. Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry.
So
I know you love that car, Commissioner Boyce, but
it gets great gas mileage, and it's anyway. You've heard me say it before. The other thing I had was of the 13. How many of those are law enforcement outside of code enforcement?
0 are law enforcement there. Juvenile and code enforcement are outside of the law enforcement pool. They're in
Yes.
the pool that I manage, and there is no law enforcement vehicles in this package. The sheriff handles his own purchases, but we sell his old stuff when he gets ready to sell it.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions? Comments? Do I have a motion yet or not?
My,
Well, good.
my comment is I would never agree to spend ARP money for buying vehicles.
I'm ready to make a motion,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Sorry for the.
inquiries.
Sure? Dave?
I have a question. You did a bulk deal by
No.
David Barnes. I've been listening to these proposals for the last few months now, and the original proposals was to purchase vehicles with the intent on only keeping them for a little while and then selling them, or to keep them for 3 years, which I guess is the requirement of the government purchasing plan. I have a call into the state treasurer's office asking questions about this, but I'm still not certain that this is an authorized use of public money. We haven't even printed out the budget yet for that you guys just approved last month. It hasn't even been printed and distributed yet, and all of a sudden now you're adding $200,000 of general fund money and another $250,000 of ARP money to buy more vehicles. This should have been included in the budget. If these people needed these vehicles last month or in May when the budget committee was meeting, they should have put in for them, and it should have been on the budget committee to decide whether to make these purchases or not. As I said, I'm still not sure that this is a legal use of public money. So until the time I hear back from the treasurer's office that we are allowed to do this, I would ask you to hold off on this. Put it off until your next meeting for another vote when I can have a definitive answer on what this is. And then to go back to what Commissioner Pash just said, we got $250,000. This is a proposal for $250,000 of ARP money. You still have 8 or 9 people who submitted applications for ARP money, 8 or 9 different groups that have never heard back the status of their applications. You've just never called them. Nobody's ever called them. Nobody's ever said anything to them. I got a call the other day from somebody wondering, I don't remember who it was, but wondering what was the status of the ARP application that they had submitted 6 months, 8 months ago. And nobody's ever called them to tell them that. So, you know, I don't, ARP money is meant to invest in the community. It's not meant to invest in a new fleet of vehicles. That's just, you know, it's a misuse of the money. It's not what it's supposed to be spent for. It's not what it was earmarked by the government to use for. And I just want to voice my opposition to this again. I've said that in the past, and until I hear otherwise, I'm going to go with my professional opinion that this is not an authorized use of public money to do this with. And I'll stand on that.
Rich?
Did you want to talk, sir? I had just a question about, in the future, will you be going electric for some of the smaller vehicles to help out with?
I can answer that.
That's about the only thing I was going to say.
Yeah, I'd like to answer the gentleman's question. Absolutely. You know, as electric becomes more acceptable, and there's we could have as charging stations here in the county, I would definitely look at using the vehicle purchasing governmental power to buy electric vehicles. I would, you know, because that's where things are going, you know, and so the thing is we got to stay quick on our feet and take advantage of every opportunity we get. And, you know, there's going to be a chance those opportunities arrive, but those could happen with certain vehicles, but they can't happen with all vehicles. Like I have heavy equipment, you know, I don't know if that's going to be possible in the future, you know, big dump trucks, electric, you know, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, what we would do, we would have an active fleet that would be new, and as we're flipping them, and those opportunities for electric to go electric, we'd flip those in and convert our fleet wherever we can, you know, to take advantage of those opportunities.
Okay.
And, you know, and that's where things are going to go eventually. And it's, and so, yes, sir, that we would definitely do that.
The cost of fuel, right?
Oh.
Rising and rising.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's what the road department does. We stay on top of things.
And Anthony, you know, today's concern about the state treasurer and
Yeah, so I mean, like I said last meeting, the legal question here is this an investment that's going to be barred, as Dave said, by the ORS? Or is this a purchase of county vehicles that's going to be used for a county purpose with a benefit at the end of it? And I know that we've talked a lot about the cost savings or generating revenue. This is my unlegal opinion, but if it's an investment, it'd be more like we bought the vehicles, we stored them somewhere, we didn't use them, hope they appreciate in value and make some money off of it. If it's for a county purpose, we're going to put these into the county fleet. These are vehicles we probably would already be buying anyway, even if it's not through this, I don't want to call it a scheme, but this process.
Well, those are Mr. Barnes' words.
So to me, I personally don't think that there is the, I don't see it as much as an investment. I don't think it would be barred because of that ORS.
so just at lunch, I had the opportunity to talk with maintenance, who kind of takes care of the general's motor pool, and Melvin, who's needing a pickup. We just got a bunch of old stuff, and we put I think $2,500 in the aquatic safety truck for a transmission. That was just for the transmission. That's not labor included. We've probably saved a ton of money, maybe by not renewing, or I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that, but I think we got to get to where we're managing this in a way that we don't have stuff that's not safe we got an old Parks truck, F-350 Ford, that it's good to go to Lobster Creek in, but it talks to you all the way up.
This is a complete asset management system, and that's why Samsara is I'm trying to make Samsara a part of it. It's, and it has to do not just by buying these vehicles, just in the road department with buying all the new vehicles, we're more efficient and effective at our work. We're not breaking down in the field. We actually get something done. But also too is it conserves fuel with having new vehicles. It lowers maintenance costs. Brake jobs, tires, repairs. We spend a lot of money in maintenance. We have a maintenance budget. This will help me have control of that maintenance budget. It will lower that maintenance budget in the future. It will also help it could help with insurance, not having old vehicles and having new vehicles, and with Samsara attached to them, or it could just lower our costs across the board. And as we're trying to save every penny we can, and we're talking thousands of dollars potentially. With what I just showed you, this could be a self-funding program and take the burden of department heads who came to you this year. Many department heads came to this year for vehicles. They were turned down. They went through the budget process, and they weren't able to get vehicles. I just explained I got 3 vehicles of these, and that I'm asking ARP funds just because these department heads don't have a vehicle. And so, and you hired them. And so we need to get them in a vehicle. We don't have a vehicle, and we've been patching them through with old, broken down road department vehicles that we patched together to get them to work. And so, anyways.
Chris, I got a question.
No, it's all right. I want to pass on.
Okay.
Sorry.
But I do when you're ready.
Court?
Well, how's do you tie up 13 new vehicles for $250,000? I mean, that is an investment. Our people deserve to not have to look over their shoulder. This is low risk. Nothing we do is going to be no risk, but this is low risk in a long term. So I see it as good business. Absolutely, I do.
Well, you said
we got to put our people in good rigs. Okay.
You said something earlier on the last budget item. I got a good running record. Okay, I put a lot of time and effort into this, 3 years.
Yeah, you wait till you make that first big mistake.
And I'll eat it, and I'll admit it if I do, but right now I don't see it happening. And so the thing is using ARP funds, yeah, that's hard. What did it start out with, 5 million? So
4.4.
4.4. The road department is asking for $250,000 of that 4.4, not for the road department. We didn't ask for anything. We're asking this for general services.
I would feel, if I may interrupt, I would feel a little better if there was a couple law enforcement vehicles in there, but I think we have a long-term vision on how to solve that problem as well. So, I'll gladly follow your lead on that work in addition. Thank you.
Anyway,
Rich, would 2 more weeks matter in this?
To be completely honest with you,
We need to get them ordered.
I don't know why we'd wait 2 weeks. We've already talked about this 6 weeks. I think you've been getting a lot of misinformation that this is misuse of public funds, a lot of terminology, fraud, schemes. I wrote some of these words down, misinformation.
Let's not go.
It's like, it's none of that. And the thing is that we need to move on. And, I got other things I have to do. We have millions of dollars of projects we're working on. And now I'm going to work on this for another 2 weeks. And
No, this would be mainly just to solve the treasurer's heartburn of.
The county council just did.
I think county council answered that question. It's not a scheme. It's not an investment. This is asset vehicle management. And to confuse those two things is improper.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm ready to make a motion. We need vehicles, and again, I want to emphasize 13 vehicles you're tying up for $250,000. That's pretty tough to do. So again, good business. So if I may make a motion when you're ready.
Well, just real quick. So what I'm saying is you don't have to work on it for 2 weeks. We're just going to push this off for 2 weeks just for heartburn situation. So,
Well, how about
I mean, does it make any difference?
it does to me, yeah, and because, you know, it's starting to just be a little over the top on some of this stuff. And so the thing is that this is what I would suggest.
Subject to the
Either shoot it down, say, no, Rich, and let me go, and don't do this anymore, Rich, or approve it. And then if Barnes finds something that it's a scheme and I'm doing fraud, then before the vehicle's in, it's nothing to cancel them. And so let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, but I don't like that either. So
Okay.
the question was, is 2 weeks going to matter?
I don't know.
here's what, may I, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a motion, subject to that we approve this $250,000 out of American Rescue Plan funding, subject to a little additional research. I don't have any apprehension Secretary of Treasury is going to come back and go, oh, no. I'd be shocked. But let's make it subject to, so we don't have to visit this again in 2 weeks. Council Pope and his staff doing a little bit of research to double check. How's that?
Okay. So we have a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second that. Any other discussion, questions, comment?
There's a lot better things to spend ARP money on. That's my comment.
Well, I think I determined way back when our finance director came and said, you know, you can use this in the county, and the county that is in the shape that we're in with money, it makes sense to me. So
$1.8 million because of financial.
it saved us a ton of money, this ARP for dispatch, and I'm all for it. You know, I want to help out. We've helped out some food things and the port and different things, but Curry County is in a financial bind, and this would help out. So if there's no other questions, I'll say all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no.
No.
Motion carries 2-1.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda.
Excuse me. Are you feel free to order? At least get them ordered, and I know that's going to take 6-8 months. Correct?
Yes, I'll contact with
Excuse
Neil
me, Mr.
Dodge
Chair.
They're fine.
when I get out of here, and I will place the order. We won't be held to it.
Okay.
And we'll move things forward. And
Okay.
just being honest with you, I could place this order, and it may not happen, just like last
Yeah,
year when
yeah,
Enterprise
we
placed
don't
the
know.
order.
Okay, stay up there.
No deposit.
Approval on Dyer Partnership Task Order number 31, not to exceed $20,000 to deliver several road department bridge and stormwater grant applications.
Thank you. This task order reflects the $20,000 grant the road you just awarded the Roadmaster signature to from AOC. So AOC will end up paying the full amount of this task order to not exceed $20,000 to do those $19 million to $26 million grants for the 3 bridges, the 3 stormwater fish passage, and the port storm drains.
Okay, we need a motion for this order.
Yeah, what the road department needs is for the board to approve this and sign the task order so JJ could send it back to Dyer. They can
All
move
right.
forward.
Entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chair, approval on Dyer Partnership Task Order number 31, Curry
Right.
County Road Department.
Do I hear a second? I'll second it. All in favor say yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank
Okay,
you.
David Barnes is up next. 6E, updating ARP allocation commitments.
We
Pull it?
pulled that
Oh, we
from the
did?
consent agenda, yeah.
We did.
Somehow it got added onto this too, but it was pulled.
Okay. Adoption of ordinance
That's also a duplicate. That was the hearing.
That's
so,
a duplicate?
yeah, we
All
can
right.
do that.
That's it. Yeah, G. Is it okay? What? Oh, G. Yeah, a resolution requesting. So 6G. Let's go there on this computer.
That's the resolution.
That's the resolution.
Voice.
Getting there, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, we had good public comment today. I felt like this is a way to actually bring the community together. Anybody that characterized this as censorship either didn't read the resolution or didn't understand it. And I'll tell you why I say that is because it's simply asked, and it's in the resolution, move it behind the counter for little kids, not right on the floor. There is nothing negative about our libraries. There is nothing negative about the boards intended in or communicated in this resolution. We look at our culture. I want to, if I may, Mr. Chair, real quickly read 2 letters that I received, emails. And these are both from people that I've corresponded with substantially over the years. And I trust them. I respect them. But here's one. Here's one of the 2. I would like you to stop for a minute and look at what is really scary about childhood here in Curry. How about child trafficking? How about a murdered 16-year-old? Teen suicide, foster kids. And then they say, I'm not serving the people. And so I want to go to the second letter real quick. It's just a little bit longer, not much. I was shocked to come across a fairly sickening resolution that you intend to sign at tomorrow's meeting. This kind of unhealthy obsession with children and sex says more about the people proposing this resolution. Most of us grew up with full access to dictionaries, encyclopedias, and the internet. Your resolution will do nothing healthy or helpful. And then at the very end it says, please stay in your lane. Now, I've heard that before, but as a citizen and as a dedicated public official, which I think I at least have that recognition and acknowledgement in the community. How do you stay in your lanes when you look at child trafficking, when you look at teen suicide, when you look at a murder of a 16-year-old? How do you stay in your lane and not speak out? Are we just glorified ribbon cutters here? So I'm going to read the resolution, and I want the public to know, and I'm asking, that if this really isn't some reasonable compromise to bring this community together and say, yeah, we're going to draw the line here. We're going to say this is not acceptable for little kids that may not have the parents even with them, may not even be supervised. All of us here have grandkids, and I know we're concerned with the state of our country. Officers killed in the line of duty in the last 2 years has doubled through the 6th month of June, has doubled in this country. You look at what we're teaching our kids and what we're telling them they have to accept. Somebody wants to pretend like he's a woman and we're supposed to pretend with him. It's breaking down our system. And if that gets me recalled, it gets people, I get letters that this is sickening, this resolution, I'll gladly take that because at least I know I didn't buckle at the knees. So here's the resolution. And I may have one or more 2 comments afterwards, maybe not. By the way of the foregoing resolution, we are requesting that all sexually explicit material be clearly marked as sex education and relocated out of reach of prepubescent children within our public library children departments. Whereas the majority of Curry County citizens appreciate and support the growing and evolving services our 5 Curry libraries and the important sources of learning they all provide, likewise a gratitude for the Curry citizens that serve on our library boards, however, do disapprove of and have legitimate and growing concerns for inappropriate sexual printed and illustrated material essentially being on display. Whereas although ORS 357.410, Authority of Local Government Units for Public Libraries, does not directly authorize the county to set minimum standards, we're only offering an opinion here. We wanted it to be a respectful opinion. That's all. We're not saying, we're telling you what to do. Not even close. As such, we are established by the State Library Board, directly authorize the county to set minimum standards for public libraries. As such, are established by the State Library Board. We believe we have a clear responsibility to address the concerns of our citizens, and furthermore, that this issue requires a conscientious response. And whereas we believe our children are our greatest resource and our most sacred responsibility, we hold grave concerns that introducing our children to explicit sexual information, exposing them during their years of innocence, is simply wrong and unacceptable in our society, and the unintended consequences that statistics verify usually follow. Further, we believe that the mental, physical, emotional, relational, and sexual health of our youth must all be carefully guarded and nurtured. And whereas, as of June 5th, 2022, it is the understanding of the Curry County Board of Commissioners that the Children's Department in one of our public libraries has sexually explicit materials available to prepubescent children, including but not limited to books depicting, and I don't want to read it. It's very graphic and too much detail, but it's all there. And you saw the book that was held up by one of our public comment folks today. Whereas these sexually provocative materials are scattered throughout at libraries, children's departments in various locations, with a grouping of sexually graphic books in the lowest shelves possible, closest to the floor, making them highly accessible to children of all ages. And whereas we believe that children should be safe from sexually explicit content in all environments, including when they're in our public libraries, specific to children's departments, our county and communities must protect our children and youth from inappropriate sexualized materials. It is our moral, civic, and legal responsibility to do so in all capacities. Now, therefore, the Curry County Board of Commissioners resolves as follows. It is requested that all sexually explicit content and/or materials within our public library children departments be clearly marked as sex education and relocated at minimum behind the counter and out of reach of prepubescent children. Further, any such access should first be at the direction and with the authorization of the parent or legal guardian without exception. I have other notes. I think it speaks for itself. There's nothing here. I could be identified or labeled as a domestic terrorist tomorrow because I want to be careful what our kids are exposed to. When you talk about lessening their natural defense mechanism from sexual predators, don't give them this stuff too early. That's what I'm asking of this board to consider. Thank you. That's enough questions.
Comments, questions? Nancy Sue, I think we heard you earlier. What is there?
Well, he made a comment. Can I?
Oh God.
It's just at lunch I stopped to drop off something to a friend, and I said, I can't believe that this was brought up in this format because it is so divisive to our community. If you individually have a problem with a book that is classed as adult, put in the adult section, it is not in the children's section, so that right there is fiction on your resolution, and you can go to the library, anybody can go and fill out a thing for any title that they disagree with. That's something that you can always do.
Okay. Chris?
Well, I personally see the current state of our schools and libraries. I personally wouldn't let a child of mine go to a public school. I'd homeschool them, and sadly, I wouldn't let a child go to our public libraries with this kind of stuff in them, but that's my personal opinion. We don't have a right. This is a special district, and we don't have a right as a board to govern what special districts do, and we all know that, given the fight that I've had for the last 3.5 years on trying to consolidate or change the way the special districts are. So, to print this and say, we don't want this for our kids, and we're doing that right now by speaking out. As far as I can see, this is going to be signed by us, and you're going to mail it to the libraries, and they're going to throw it in the trash can. is all they're going to do. You've already spoken on how you feel about this. Or get enough signatures and go to that district's board and either demand resignations or reseat a new board by removal, but that has to be done through a public vote. It can't be done, by commissioners. We have no power in these special districts. So, again, my personal feelings, I don't agree with a lot of what's going on in our public schools and libraries, and I will stand up until I bleed and argue against it. In this case, though, we don't have a legal standing.
I'll read this paragraph again. Although on the ORS number does not directly authorize a county to set minimum standards for public libraries, so never implied.
I didn't say you did, sir. I'm
Okay,
not
but
saying, as a matter of fact, you said you hope, and part of this it says you hope that they would relocate them behind the counter. All I'm saying is we can
You're not
sign
going
this.
to support that, asking them simply to move that behind the counter out of
I don't
kids
think
that are too young.
we don't have that right.
Well, okay, obviously, I think we do. I think we have that responsibility. We have a right to have an opinion as a collective board. That's all.
Well, and, my comment on this is I like that last sentence. It is requested that all sexually explicit content and or materials within our public library children's departments be clearly marked as sex education, relocated at a minimum behind the counter. Parents can ask. I think everybody that in Curry County and here in this room especially know where I stand on my walk with my Lord and Savior, and I got to agree with Chris. We the people have got to go to the library board meetings and make a change there. I'll sign this because I like that last paragraph about we're not asking to burn it or
Ban it.
but put it somewhere. I grew up, and I know you guys did too. If you wanted to go see an R-rated movie, you had to show ID, and I praise the Lord for that because a couple of my buddies had fake ID and got in to watch the one with the gals whose heads spin around. Exorcist, and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't because
Yep.
I've heard it. I never have seen it, and I don't want to. But scary movies are not good. So, for me personally, Chris,
I mean, if you want to do that, I would be willing to do the last paragraph. I don't know why we need to have all the rest of it in there. Let's just say, this is us three as private individuals. But again, people have a right to, if somebody wants to be trans, I don't have a say in that. They have to deal with that, and what I believe will be one day they'll stand in front of God. That's not my business. My business is that if they ask me my opinion, to give my opinion, yeah, but this is something that I don't agree with. Do I wish that they would burn all this stuff and throw it in the trash can? Yes, I do. But I don't have a right to tell them that. It's my personal opinion.
Court, would you be willing to adopt or what's the word? Redo this? Because that last paragraph says it all to me. That's
Which is the intent.
yeah.
Would I like to have this board united on one thing related to this? Yeah, I think it's that important. So to answer your question, how do you have a resolution with one small paragraph? Maybe. So yeah, I'm going to get this done. I want people to look at the intent behind this and make a motion that we approve it with the last paragraph only.
I'll second that. All in favor, say yes.
Right, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna rescind that. You can make the motion, and to have this watered down, I think sends a wrong message.
I
It's heartbreaking. I also asked one of these citizens to help with those issues that were identified there, to lead the community in looking at teen suicide, looking at foster parenting, to look at murders, to look at drug use, addictions, pornography addiction, all the rest of it. So this is a start. This is the first step. Just processing, Mr. Chair.
So we could table it.
So, yes, I will go back to my motion that you asked to amend, and I'll ask you to, if the motion is understood, is that fair?
So restate the motion?
That will change the resolution to include the now therefore and the last paragraph, adopted this day.
Okay. I'll second that. Again. Dave?
By making this change, you don't really have a resolution anymore. What you really have now is a letter of request coming from the three of you united to the libraries.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not, it doesn't have, a resolution is stronger. I like the idea though of just a letter of request to the libraries. That is the last paragraph in this. I've read the whole thing also, and for you to send a letter of request to them, I think will be a lot more palatable than the resolution.
Yeah, I think he's right.
So we have got a vote?
Yep. All in favor say yes.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Infrastructure. H, equal funding all Curry ports. Port of Brookings Harbor, Port of Port Orford, because we just did last meeting, I think, Port of Gold Beach.
Here's what I got, Mr. Chair. Thank you. This was just from Port Manager Dillinger, Brookings Harbor Port, for the $50,000 to match what we did for the Port of Gold Beach. High Court, our wastewater plan is still valid. Any amount would help at this point. In a couple of months, the Environmental Protection Agency will be asking for matching dollars, and this would be a huge benefit. We worked hard to get that $3.5 million from Congressman DeFazio. Anything the county can do to show an interest, to show a commitment, to show an understanding of what they're dealing with down there, I think would be wise when it comes to the Port of Port Orford.
Port of Brookings, you mean?
Yeah, the Port of Brookings. I mean, that's all I was going to say on that. It's their wastewater treatment with the fishing industry that they have, the sport fishing industry they have, the $3.5 million commitment that they've had for about 5-6 months now, and then the Pacific Fisheries or Pacific Seafoods. So yeah, the $50,000 goes a long way with the other two ports as well. And then we have the letter from the Port of Port Orford that's almost a year ago, and their seafood hub is they've got $1.6 million. So again, for that whole process, that employs a third of the people in North County. Well, at least in Port Orford, the city of Port Orford, not all of North County. But they just did their new cranes, and so yeah, they're up against it. So a county connection with those two ports, like we did for. I mean, I'm not saying they're desperate. They're almost though board as urgent as was the Port of Gold Beach. So there's $50,000 for each. It's a fair and equitable contribution. It is infrastructure related. It will help both those ports tremendously.
Questions, comments? So I'm in favor of Port Orford, but I am not in favor of Brookings if that money is used. I'm not in favor of the wastewater treatment plant in the port. I'm just not. Rich can speak to this, and I've spoken to DEQ person and Brookings. Brookings has got tons of availability for that wastewater to come across the bridge with their plant. I mean, their plant is not even close to maximization of their wastewater. So why would we want to? I mean, there's so much more places that money could be spent than a wastewater plant in the most beautiful part of the port, and it's sea level.
You're saying that Brookings has a ton of additional, City of Brookings has a ton of additional septic
Come on.
capacity?
Yep, I do. I say that. Well, I mean,
I want to stay kind of neutral on that.
well, sometimes you can't.
I just wanted to raise my hand to say if they didn't get their grant for this plant, that maybe we could use the $50,000 to help with these projects that we're applying for stormwater.
You know, let me interrupt for a second. Perhaps
Yeah.
we could word it that one commissioner, or maybe two, was uncomfortable with the wastewater facility, and so it would have to be used specifically for other projects. And we know they have tons of projects down there.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to segregate that out, I would let them. You know, they're going to have a lot of important reporting back to us through the ARP system. Anyway, forgive me for interrupting.
Yeah, no, it's, I think helping the port's a good idea, and the commissioners have talked about helping the port for years, and that's why we developed these master plan projects, and that's why we're applying for these grants. And if you're going to give some money to the port and it's not going to another project that they don't get awarded whatever they're trying to do, then I would say maybe let that money go towards, if we're successful in a grant application for the port, is what I was thinking.
So, Rich, I guess I could put you on the spot. So when you left, how much availability of wastewater treatment plant is at our Brookings?
I don't have the numbers, but I could tell you what I know, because I didn't run the plant. But in general speaking, they have a huge sewer treatment plant that was developed to handle all the sewer effluent of this town, plus all, it's called I&I, inflow infiltration. And because their sanitary sewer system was so old, all the groundwater would seep into the joints of the pipes, and when it would rain real hard and all the groundwater would come up, the flows into the wastewater plant would be extremely high, and they had to treat all that. And also the inflow part is it would come through manholes that were too low, and we go in. So during the 12 years I worked there, I'm going to say we because I was with them at that time. We spent millions of dollars on improving the sanitary sewer system to get rid of that I&I. And so I believe you're correct. I don't know who you're talking with down there, but that there's a lot of capacity in the existing City of Brookings system that they would love to have this effluent. You know, there might be a little higher cost to Pacific Fisheries and Harbor Sand, but there is across the river. I would talk with interim city managers Gary Milliman about it, and if you want, I'll talk with him on your behalf and ask him that. But I believe there's huge capacity to handle extra flow.
Mr. Chair?
That's the reason. Anyway.
City of Brookings can't handle the fish processing waste byproduct. That's why it takes a new system. And there's 65 jobs down there, and they're still trying to hire more. They're trying to run 2 shifts at Pacific Fisheries. And so that is, as I understand it, I could be wrong on that, but I don't think the City of Brookings wants that, the fish byproducts coming through their system. They're not set up for that. So that's why Fazio went out on a limb for this funding. And I sure wouldn't want to send a signal to the port commissioners of Brookings Harbor Port that we think that's a bad waste, or that's a waste of money. I could be wrong on that.
Let's do some checking on that then.
Okay. So can we do the 50,000 with your, subject to, for lack of a better term, outside the wastewater treatment that they would need to report to us outside of that? But that was their main request. And then also, Roadmaster Christensen, a little side note here. Did you want us to have a meeting with the port commissioners of Brookings Harbor Port at some point?
Yeah, yes, through this full process of the AOC funding and this list of projects. I've emailed the board, and I've talked with my liaison that we'd like to have our board meet with the port board on these master plan projects, so that way we could have an understanding on how to move these projects forward if we're funded.
I think that'd be excellent. A
Yeah.
very good idea.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to that. So the boost that this would give those two ports, the boost it gave to Gold Beach, I just don't think we could highlight that enough. I know it's another $100,000. We've been looking at that for a year and a half now, almost, and this would, again, it would give a signal to state and federal governments. It's just exactly like the water planning. You know, it gives the governments an idea that, wow, they've invested, they understand their responsibilities, and they have their priorities. So I'm ready to make a motion when you're ready, Mr.
I'm
Chair.
ready.
So I'm going to make a motion that we authorize $50,000 for the Port of Port Orford for operating with close reporting back to the Board of Commissioners of the American Rescue Plan funds, and then also $50,000 for the Port of Brookings Harbor. It can be used for any of their critical projects outside of, at least for now, of the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second that. Any other discussion, question, comment? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. All abstain? Did you say yes?
3.
All,
I make a quick comment.
very quick. Motion carries 3-0.
Wastewater. My name's Dallin, and I don't know if Harbor ever fixed the issue with the salt coming up through.
That's water.
Well, I know, but it gets into the waste system, and it seems like the money would be better used to put their intake further up the river.
I agree.
Because that is very dangerous, and it's bad for our economy when that happens. And plus, a lot of people don't get warning about it, and they're drinking brackish water.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that happens. And
does.
so I'm just wondering when is Harbor, the county, going to fix that problem?
Well,
It's in the county.
That's
One of Chris's special districts.
you know, I can speak to the water plant.
Well, yeah.
So, and you're talking, to move that upriver is millions and millions of dollars. So,
I think there's an easier, my point of view, put a big holding tank for August. And don't pump water during those minus tides when we have them in July and August, right, Rich? I mean, anyway. So we're moving on to new jail, courthouse plans. Presentation update. New jail, 6K.
thank you, Mr. Chair. You recall that we authorized $5,000 to Adroit Construction to review, and you got information. I put it on your desk this morning. The comparison or the analysis with Tom Walker from Adroit on new construction versus remodel.
No comparison.
What's that?
No comparison.
Yeah,
Right?
and I mean, we probably knew that was coming, but if we want to continue this project and move it forward, we needed to have that evaluation so that we could assure the public. And what if we were wrong? You know, we were pretty confident that we were correct, and he just spells out the issues on why we were correct on that, and it was essentially common sense.
Yeah.
So I want to read something real quick from him. Estimates for all, this is from Tom Walker. Estimates for all new construction and seismic rehab remodel of existing plus new construction to match ORW's overall new program square footage is attached for your review. And by the way, that is the seismic upgrade, additional remodel existing, and then the cost of new construction is a second graph. And so, JJ, can we make sure that gets on the county website for people? You might have to bird dog me a little bit there. Since you already had project estimate from ORW from 2021, I chose to use a similar format for presentation of my figures such that you are able to correlate the three estimates side by side. In summary, I think you'll spend a fair amount more trying to remodel, update your existing facilities and adding enough new square footage to meet the new program square footage versus demolishing what you have and starting over with all new buildings. There's
Key sentence right here. Key sentence right coming up. This is the one.
There's just too much wrong with what you have to make it cost effective to bring it up to today's standards. Add to that, with the existing concrete structures, there really is no way to know how much work will be involved in structurally upgrading them until we actually begin demolition. That's the expensive part. Well, one of the expensive parts. That's a lot of risk to the project. Even if we do invasive, destructive, testing inspections, the level of degradation we'll find during selective demolition is anyone's guess. Finally, no matter what you do to the existing structures, they're always going to be the old buildings and weren't designed for ADA requirements, modern HVAC and plumbing systems, head clearance, current detention standards, etc., etc. In the end, why propose spending more for a remodel than will force you to compromise your program needs when you can build new for less? Please let me know if you have any questions, etc. And then Jeff Bender from ORW. You know, we lost Dana Crawford tragically, and she was just exceptional to work with from that architecture company, and she is sorely missed. So I encourage people to look over the two graphs, and that's basically where we're at right now. I think this is even more of an argument for a serious look at the consumption tax board, in that if we can raise money and then manage well and really watch our spending and build that trust back with the public, then short of a bond or short of raising property taxes, which, as you heard Commissioner DeYoung say, and I think it's safe to say none of the board is interested in this board. Very unlikely future boards would be interested in that as well. So this doesn't jeopardize our $3 million to Association of Oregon Counties and that work that's been done through the Oregon Department of Justice. So that's the update I have for you. Any questions?
All we need to do is save up $112 million.
Well, and you know,
write a check.
That was my question. Where are you going to come up with the $112 million?
Well, that's if we do it in 2024. If we do it next year, it's only $107 million. And if we did it this year, it would only be $100 million.
Hey, I don't recall ever saying that we could come up with that kind of money, or that was the goal. I just followed through with what this board asked me to do.
No, I know.
I'm not saying anything about
Okay, but it just sounded like where are we going to come up with 112, like I made that recommendation. So, but I do have hope. Okay.
I'm curious. I
just mentioned the consumption tax, and I mentioned why I felt like that might be a possible avenue through good management, through raising funds through primarily tourism to find funding for Curry County law enforcement, including the cities. Thank you.
I understand that, but if we're going to float a consumption tax, it's going to be based on funding law enforcement, and then you're talking about $112 million, 107, let's call it $100 million for a round number. On a 20-year bond, you're at $5 million a year, which is about $2 on 1,000 for your property taxes.
But it's very long term, you would agree. We know we have a problem with our jail.
I understand that.
So we got to look at every possible option.
I understand that.
you.
I'm just saying that I question where the funding is going.
It's overwhelming.
We
right?
all question that.
It's
we
but
all are concerned with that.
we keep putting money into this though without knowing. We're building plans for a greater tomorrow, but how do we fund it? Okay. And that's all I have to say about it. It's a lot of money that we're going to be asking the citizens of this county to float.
Next is D5. Becky, I'm surprised you're not here already, Becky. There she is. Come on up. D5. Approval of timber sale contract, Airport Road.
You had a question.
Oh.
That's why we pulled it. You said you had a question on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, so thanks for.
I'm just here to answer questions.
We had one, where to start here. We can't have housing unless we log that area. And that's fire and housing is my number 1 and 2, whether you're going to go 2 and 1, whatever, my number 1 and 2 issues. So I'm very excited about that. The only issue I've had, and you had one person from Port Orford saying we didn't notify the schools up there. That's probably where I'm guilty of what our plans are, though. They're slowly coming into place. Nothing but high marks for the work that you've done, of course, and appreciate gratitude. But he also testified that the North County people don't know, and I've communicated to you in the past without at least a 10-foot buffer, preferably a 20, that there's going to be a revolt up there, and it could start with the parents of the school. It could start with a variety of issues when it gets logged, and so I'm just trying to avert that. Honestly, I haven't gone to the Oregon Department of Transportation and said, hey, you don't cut all your trees right down to the white line, the fog line. And is that something that we absolutely have to do? And you've put some light on that, which I've appreciated. And I don't want to mess up this deal, but I am legitimately, I think, concerned, and I've communicated this, that people are going to see it cut right down the road's edge, and they are going to just, I don't like it, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't. So I'm going to ask one more time if we have any other options, and if it's too late, if we, I know we need to get going on this, but I'm just struggling. So I hope that helps with my position on this.
Pardon me?
We've already voted on this.
Yes.
It's already done. Contracts are done.
So
Now it says right here,
what?
This is the final.
well, timber sales contract today, number D on 5D.
This is
Go
the,
ahead, Becky.
This is the final agreement. The timber sale has already been let. We have a low bidder who is offered a price higher than what the minimum bid was established for the property based on a cruise. So this is just a formality. We could have had the Coos County Commissioners sign off on this contract, but we decided to bring it down here to have you sign off on the final contract. So you've brought up a lot of issues. I recall having a conversation with the superintendent of schools responsible for that high school there. We talked at length about what potential issues were and what the plans were going to be for that site. In addition to that, we've had the discussion here at the board's meeting on several occasions where we presented a schematic of the plan for that piece of property, the 34 acres. And the focus has been to look at that as an option for a fairly high-end veterans housing project. And the staff has still talked at length about how to make sure that that is consistent with the values within the area. As far as the buffer, the Oregon Department of Transportation has come out objecting to leaving any trees for that buffer during the logging operation. The road department, as well as the planning department, has come back and agreed to a program where we would plant back the appropriate buffer trees for that area, consistent with the design for the Veterans RV Park. So I think we're planning to address all of these issues. I heard something about a burn pile, and that one was a little perplexing. We will be burning the debris that's left on site. And in the event there's an emergency, the road department may use that site to actually burn debris that is the result of an emergency in Curry County. So, and any other issues related to burning, I'd have to defer to the roadmaster. I think that answers all of your questions.
Yes, we've had this conversation, and I just, when you can, send me the information from ODOT that says, hey, don't leave any buffer, and that would be helpful. And I think we need to just have that accessible for the people that that may be opposed or disappointed, whatever. That would be a benefit. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Sure, David, come on up. Quick comment.
Becky, please stay.
I just wanted to say that it is a fact that I talked to Matt. He said it slipped by him here somehow, so it never was in the paper. Slipped by Matt. Okay, that happens, I guess. You know, it's not covered here.
Yeah.
You know, court said also that people don't know about it, man. It's just not known. I'm telling you, and you know, it is going to affect the school mightily.
I disagree, Dave, but
I know it will. And so I think you're making a mistake. You know, and I think a lot of other people are going to think you're making a mistake.
well, that's your opinion. That's fine.
Yeah. It's not going to enhance that part of the highway there, really.
We're gonna prove you wrong. It'll enhance it. I promise you.
Mr. Chair, would you bring Roadmaster Christensen up, please?
Rich, can you come up for a second?
While Rich is doing that, can I just make a comment to Becky, because I know you want to go. I talked to Marie Simons this morning, Commissioner Cribbins, all that, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And perhaps next week, if we could schedule a time that you and I could meet with her on the phone or something to make plans on some of the property here. She said there is a way, there is a path.
All right, Rich.
Thanks.
Our question for Rich?
Yes,
Court.
thank you. Just, we know you need a place to tend to business. You know, smoke in North County has been an issue, and no fault of the counties, okay?
Right.
But it's been a legitimate concern. And so just let the public know what your plans are, what your vision is there, and I'm not opposed, you know, because we've got to clear that before we can have housing. And so just in a general sense, what
Well, in a general sense, I started this project over a year ago, and it was to do everything that everybody wanted, but this thing's morphed into another project for housing, which I support. And I worked with the State Highway Department about the buffer on Becky's behalf, and that the ultimate vision for the road department is that all North County debris from the northern county line, Bono Road, all the way down to like Port Orford. We encounter a lot of gorse and brush, and we can't bring that stuff down here. We can't drag those seeds down here. So we're looking to have a site that we could burn that debris following DEQ rules, and we would totally work with the schools, that we would wait till the weather was appropriate, but also too is that my thought was always, you know, I haven't talked with the schools yet, was that we would do it during Christmas holiday or Thanksgiving break or spring break, you know, during that time when there's no threat of fire season, where we could burn efficiently and effectively.
3-day weekends and stuff.
Yeah. You know, it might depend how big the pile is, but the first year, you know, the road department, after this logging's done, the road department's go in there with our heavy equipment. We're partnering with the planning department to deliver this housing project, and we're going to rip all those stumps out. They're going to be gone. We're going to make a big pile out of them. We're going to burn them up. But then we're going to replant the whole buffer again, but on county property, because State Highway Department does not want it on their property. And so, you know, we can make a community project out of that planting. I remember when I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts on Lawrence Expressway, we planted trees down Lawrence Expressway in Sunnyvale, California. You know, road department will buy all those trees, and we'll buy whatever the community wants, and we'll help set it up to where it could be a community project where we plant all that buffer back in it. And you know, trees grow like weeds here, 3 feet a year. You know, 5-10 years, you're not going to see inside there anymore. So, but anyways, road department is totally partnering with the planning department on this, and we're looking for a home for a future brush material, landslide material, things that happen through day-to-day operations, because we have nowhere in Curry County to dump right now except on private property, and that's just not a smart thing to do anymore.
Thank you, Rich. I guess I lived in Curry County too long, because just up the road from there, Bobby Sweet logged just before the 4-lane highway there by the KOA, and I like it. I like seeing trees come down. There's no buffer, but we'll have a buffer, and it'll be beautiful. But Becky?
I just have one thing to add that I probably should have brought up, and that's the existing condition of that 34 acres. As you guys are well aware, it has been subject to a lot of nefarious events, including taking out almost $100,000 worth of trees, unbeknownst to the county. Essentially, we're being robbed of our property. In addition to that, there's a lot of things that have been going on inside that area, that forested area, that have brought complaints from the surrounding property owners, the farmers. They're ecstatic that the county has stepped up to finally do something with that piece of property, which will include a higher level of management.
I know busmans are tickled, so. All right.
One quick comment?
Okay.
The only thing worse than not burning gorse is not burning it hot enough to kill the seeds.
We'll put a fan on it.
So I knew.
Can I ask you one more question?
I need a motion.
How much room are you going to require?
Well, it's open for 7 acres.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Do I hear a motion?
It was his.
Motion to approve?
No, I'm going to vote, but I'm looking for a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor say yes.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Next thing is consent agenda item update and clarification for board approval, Curry County Housing Committee. Man alive, this is.
We're almost done though, aren't we?
Yep, we almost are.
I appreciate the board let me put a lot of things on the agenda today, and that helps us not get behind. So these two documents.
I don't mean to laugh, but that doesn't make any
behind.
sense. Yeah, we're a little behind, but that's okay.
Oh, behind for the day or behind in our work?
I don't know.
That's okay.
We're all behind. Go ahead.
So you heard different public comment today. I think the recommendations are good. I do not disagree that it's been somewhat unproductive, and that's been a disappointment. It started out with Commissioner Pash, then went to you, and I've been there the last year trying to catch up and impact in a positive way. We've got some good people on there, but there's also been some, I don't want to say conflicts, but there's been some disinterest due to different personalities. So I don't know how to overcome that other than do the quarterly program. And I think the recommendations are good. If you want me to bring this back, Mr. Chair, if the board does on the 3rd or the 17th of August, I could do that. There's some people on here that I don't want to lose because I feel, and I mentioned this on Commissioner comments last meeting, I think we're on the verge of a little bit of a breakout, and a lot of it has to do with Coos County and our connection with them. A lot of it has to do with, talking to Commissioner comments about our abandoned meeting 2 weeks ago today, and what we learned there. So, that's the only thing I can really offer. I don't know if there needs to be a decision today. But it's up to the board.
Comment?
I'd personally like to see us do away with this and do a more informal roundtable, whether that's monthly or quarterly. But this housing committee has just been so much in and out, so much overturn in it. I don't think it's had a quorum for several months, and it's just very ineffective. And I'm not blaming it on anyone. I'm not saying anyone did anything wrong, but I just think it would be a better way. I actually like the description that Mary Rowe put up today of having just an informal roundtable and invite everyone that wants to come to speak at that roundtable and give their professional and/or amateur opinions on housing, how we can better it, how can we create more housing in this county. Because I as well as the rest of this board, is tired of seeing some of the situations that we are currently facing in this county. And we have ways out. I think if we can have the right people, not on an obligated time on a monthly basis, but at an informal meeting to come in and do this. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay. So I have the best of both worlds here, guys. I guess because I'm sitting between you. So Kristen made a point, you made a point, and I like your thing about every quarter. So how about the other 2 months? We have a round table. You guys meet on the third month. They can come. So we have a housing committee. We try it on a quarterly basis, but the months that we're not meeting on that quarter, this is Anthony's got a skewed up face. He's saying, I don't know if this will work.
I'm just trying to think, because this was created by an ordinance, so I was trying to think of how we would reword it. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just thinking.
Well, we just talk and then we say do it. So
You can rescind the ordinance, though.
yeah.
Let's do your idea without rescinding the ordinance yet.
So that would give, we could try out the open meeting, blue room.
But how can you do that without even having a quorum?
Well, no, this is just for this open meeting structure.
Right, but I'm saying we're not rescinding the ordinance on the housing committee, but we don't even have a quorum for
Well, I think he's got it.
How can it, what I'm asking is,
Okay.
legally, how can that continue to exist without a quorum? I don't think that's legal.
No, there would be no housing committee without a quorum.
Okay.
And I think that is where
So,
we are now.
Court, did you have a way to make a quorum? Because that's what we're lacking
Here's your
here.
list of term members. We just have 3 vacancies. We've added a couple new people. Subject to board approval, we've added a couple people. So these are some of the ones that I don't want to lose. But
Will this
to the board here.
with those 3 vacant spots? Will you have a quorum? You would if they all showed up.
And see, that's why we're trying to get a quorum, is to reorganize here. And I can offer something in executive session as well.
David, you got a question? He's a former or present.
I believe I'm still present member of the committee. I've been on it since it
Yep,
was.
you are.
It
Central
was
at
formed.
large.
My suggestion would be, when this committee was first formulated, we tried to get people from all different walks of life and contractor, faith-based, north, south, central, at large, et cetera. Change that. Make it so that it's a 5-member panel that meets on the non-quarterly months. That would be either 3 or 5 members that would get together and would coordinate. I've read in this that there's going to be subgroups that are like work groups, but you have a 3 or 5 member housing committee that meets monthly to discuss what the work is going on and to create an agenda and to drive an agenda at your quarterly meetings. Having 13 people has never worked for us. We've never, like I said, I think our last quorum was October of last year. So we've been meeting every month, but there's never been a quorum. So no business can be enacted, no suggestions can be made. If we greatly reduce the number of people to ones who are dedicated to this, I think that would resolve the problem.
Yeah, getting 3 as opposed to getting 8.
5.
Yeah, but getting 3 for a quorum.
Right. If you have a committee of 5, you need 3 for a quorum, and I think that would be much easier. I'm still committed to it. I know that what the guy whose name Adam Briggs was on there, he's still committed to it.
Yep.
I think Connie is still committed to it. So you have your 3-member quorum right there.
Thoughts, discussion, comments?
What I do want to communicate to the board is Coos County, they have a well-oiled machine. And for whatever reason, and some people believe it's because of personalities, we've not been able to, none of us 3 commissioners have been able to get this thing off the ground. So,
I was never so happy as when you said you'd take it from me.
It wasn't out of confidence that I thought I could affect
That's the
change.
truth.
But we have one person that works for Coos County and Curry County. Her name is Stephanie Hadley. I'm just going to boldly recommend to the board, we do not want to lose her. She is incredibly knowledgeable. She is very dedicated, tremendously experienced, and that is my biggest concern. And another one, there's several of these board members. Samuel Strom, Jordan White, they're looking for leadership, and they will contribute. Cora Rose, Mr. Barnes mentioned Connie Hunter, Adam Briggs, he's not missed a meeting. So I just, I'm at a loss and to really make a solid recommendation to the board other than buy us a little time here and do not lose Stephanie Hadley.
So buy us a little time by tabling it, not talking about it anymore today?
Well, that's one option.
That's one option. I'm sorry, I did forget. Cora has also been a steadfast member. She has not missed a meeting either, as far as I know.
I don't think you meant to leave anyone out, which
I did. I
appreciate.
apologize when I did. So I believe that 4 of us have been the steadfast members. Dallin was also, when he was on the committee, he was also there every month.
Yep.
So,
there's a ray of hope here.
We did have a small core group of people who did show up every month and who did try, but without agenda items, without being able to adopt an agenda, we kind of got, our wheels were just spinning. So
Dallin, you don't get to talk because you were a member, but now you're not.
Well, I'm a member of the public, though.
Go ahead.
Just a few comments. I've heard about housing developments. And affordable housing, I guess, is questionable as far as, who can afford it. Lifestyles of the rich and famous from other countries and other states. Low income workforce housing and street people. This has got to be addressed. I believe there is a window of time next year sometime where we as a county have to have a place to take people temporarily, or they can camp right out in the park or right out there in City Hall or someplace else illegally. So the ARP money, American Relief Plan money, is to help that situation quite a bit too. Rich people are coming and buying things and then squeezing the fixed income people out. Please, I did step down because we weren't getting forums, and we had a lot of difficulty with the computer, COVID, all that. It was a nightmare, especially for us old people that don't know how to do computer stuff. But this is an issue, especially the cost of living is going up, and people, if you want to keep workers here, they got to be able to not just rent, high rental, rent to own, and things like that, or else you can't replace everybody with computers and artificial intelligence. The low income, the middle income people, this is what our county needs. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what our ARP money is down to. What, 2.5 million, or it's below 3 million, isn't it? I mean, where's it all going?
Point taken, Dallin.
Okay.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Let me wash my hands here.
All right. Okay, so what are we going to do with 5E?
I didn't do it.
Yeah. Somebody's calling in to say, you've gone too long. Huh?
Who do we think it is?
I don't know.
President of the United States. Oh. Eric knows.
Yeah, quit ringing. So what do we want to do, gentlemen?
I'd like to disband the housing committee and do the open forum thing, but that's my opinion.
Would Stephanie Hadley be...
They are all invited to come to that.
Yeah, I did. Or do we want to talk about it next meeting?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Okay. We're done with that then. Commissioner updates. Commissioner Pash.
I have heard locally that CORE is looking to buy a local motel. Like they tried to do in Brookings, they're now trying to do it here in Gold Beach.
Mm.
They've already applied for the grants, and I don't know where Gold Beach is on this, but I'm just passing information. I would ask this chair to look again at having a agenda in by Friday and having time to be able to go through the agenda. And I don't know how you do your planning, but when I was chair, I would look at the agenda then, and I could set the agenda how it would best flow. And by having it on a Monday morning, you could still do that. You know, you can do it on a Monday or over the weekend, whenever. But I would just, it seems like it's very confusing sometimes because it's such a rush thing. I know JJ's kind of rushed on some of it. The public gets rushed on some of it. So I guess I can say that's one of the good things that Huxley did, because I believe it was him that started the Friday thing. But it just seems like it flows a lot smoother. And then you can also say, okay, this is the cutoff time, period. No late entries, no nothing, unless it's an emergency.
Right.
Period, because it messes up the whole flow. So.
Well, I chuckle. You know why I chuckle, because we even when we have it on Monday, we keep adding anyway.
Anyway, those are my comments.
Okay. Commissioner Boyce.
That was the first thing on my list, and I would rather do
Agenda?
Monday. Yeah, I'd rather do Monday at noon, because the weekend sometimes is good to get additional stuff caught up, and that's been very beneficial. So could we bring this up and discuss it next meeting? Stay with the Tuesday morning, but I think we're in agreement it needs to be moved to have additional time for staff and the public, and us.
Monday would be a compromise?
Yes, and we've talked about that before, but
Yeah.
It'd have to be a hard, fast policy, I believe, Mr. Chair.
Any other update?
Yeah, fire season, we just got to get through the next 2 weeks, and we won't have any July fires, because when you have July fires, they tend to last till October, because they grow and grow and grow. So hoping and praying that we make it through this month without any serious lightning strikes. I'm going to ask the board, let me do a line of duty death report for next week, for next meeting. I want to focus, encourage the board on what our police are up against. You know, we did that for a year, and it's just a good recognition in my view. I don't know if the board will agree. Keep those reports short, but it's scary what our police are dealing with. I left on your desk the AOCC BLM counties, 18 BLM counties program on our selection process. The neat thing about that is, wait, I want to go back to the my apologies. I want to go back to the BLM on the fire, restrictions. Weather warms, danger increases. Bureau of Land Management. We are both under the Coos Bay and Medford district, but they're basically saying, despite a wet spring and warming, drying rapidly, most of Jackson, Josephine, and Curry counties are in severe to extreme drought. And I'll have a fire map here. In fact, I could do that now. Do you have the
just real quick, sounds like you moved on. I just had a call from Mary Rowe on the Housing Committee, who just wanted me to remind you that the terms for David Barnes, Strom, and Rose had expired. There were only 1-year terms. And she was hoping to be able to call in, but...
Oh, that was her call.
Oh,
She
yeah.
tried.
Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to let you know. She called, and
Well, and
I passed on the message.
yes, you did.
All right.
So you don't even have a quorum when you have a quorum then, really.
Keep going to the meeting.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Those that were in event printed, they died in 22, not 23.
I want to look at Southern Oregon here. This is the wildfire risk map put out by a joint effort between BLM, Forest Service, Oregon Department of Forestry, etc. The red is extreme. Okay, we have a little bit of red up in here, and then this is moderate to extreme. So this is just really good information. You see what Eastern Oregon is dealing with. I just wanted the public to know, if they can see this, that be advised, be aware, be careful, and let's see if we can get through this next couple of months. We'll be in really good shape.
That little yellow spot in that orange down in southern Curry County? Oh, it's already burned. Okay.
That's exactly what it
Gotcha.
happened. So it's not under a lot of risk right
Okay,
now.
I gotcha.
But good question. And, well, it kind of ran with the Klondike, of course. Let's see. On the selection process with AOCC, we have till September 22nd. I want you guys, if you would please, to read up on that. And here's some. I'll just abbreviate. Doug Robertson, who's second in command to Rocky McVeigh, AOCC. He was a Douglas County Commissioner for 22 years. And they are taking the role of helping all the other 17 BLM counties. So we can't really depend on them, but we can take advantage of what they're offering, which is what the timelines are, the deadlines, and so that information given there. And it's going to be important that we understand what our responsibilities are. I'm still going to hope that this board at some point will work with AOC, if it's not too late, on the water planning. Amity, Oregon has 1,600 people. They just got $6 million for their water. We still have Langlis. We still have, you mentioned moving the tower on the Chetco River. You know, that's a big dream. It's not unrealistic, but it's...
I mentioned just putting a holding tank and not pumping on a low tide.
And that's fine, but somebody also said
yeah.
Move the tower up. With the watershed being so damaged due to the two fires, I mean, Chetco River's not going to be the same in our lifetime for sure. The point is, Amity, 1,600 people, they had serious water planning, so they got attention from the state and federal government on their funding. And also, Clatsop, Columbia, and Tillamook counties. I don't think I reported this last week or last meeting, but they also have their water and planning. They are off and running. I think we lost 6-8 months, guys. I wish it weren't so. I still want to come back to that. On our veterans, if anybody, there's a program that is not authorized by the VA. Whenever a vet has a disability claim, that everybody comes looking to help, and they charge exorbitant amounts. So just be on guard for veterans to be very, very careful. Go to the VA website and look and see if these companies are authorized or recognized by the VA if you discuss anything on your disability claim with them. The Bandon meeting 2 weeks ago with DLCD, Director Crockett did an outstanding job. She put them in their place in a very respectful, good way. And basically, she is highlighting, and we know this to be true through her leadership, but the DLCD, if they don't relax, available and buildable lands within the urban growth boundaries, in some of the R2 zoning areas, we're not going to have room. We have buildable land, but we're not going to have that for housing. That's a huge one. Was it a pleasant meeting? Yeah. Was it productive? I think it was worth the time to go up there. But until they recognize that, as one person said, this available land that should be used for homes is just being restricted to wildlife. That's it in a nutshell. Let's see, I don't know if I put this on your desk, but on the opioid crisis for the counties, we've got our foot in the sand there as far as receiving funds. I'll just read one quick paragraph. Per the attached agreement between the state and local governments, that's 12 pages, by the way. I didn't print that out for you. Regarding the distribution of opioid settlement funds, 55% will be allocated directly to participating cities and counties for prevention, treatment, and recovery services at the local level. So ADAPT is aware of this. Coast Community Health is aware of this. And then the remaining 45% will go to state prevention, treatment, and recovery funds. Let's see. On probably the 17th, I think I mentioned earlier, have ADAPT and Coast Community Health come in and give an update on Curry Public Health. Littering is getting to be more and more of a problem in Curry County, and I don't have an answer for that other than I think we're all aware, and we need to be prepared to do whatever we can to mitigate that and growing up as kids, we didn't have that here. Curry County was the cleanest place in the world. and we want to get back to that. I'm pretty proud of this photo right here. Took daylight one morning. They're moving further upriver, which is a good sign on the dredge. I do have a meeting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard on the 29th regarding, and I can do that with a mouse right here, where the Coast Guard dock would be on the Doyle Point Rock here, of getting this dredged out as well. Right now, that contractor, that's not part of their agreement. But we want the Coast Guard here. He was here. Chief Widows was here last week. The Candle Building, I hope there's a way we can look at tying that up. We're working right now with the city of Gold Beach to see if there's a way that we could get that property, and I have no idea if it would be reasonable, but it is ideal for a variety of things that we might need for the county. Chip seal. This is really good for Oregon tourism. We talked about this just a little bit last week. Very proud of our Curry Road Department crew. They're almost done. They're like 95% done with this project, the 17 miles I did, in conjunction with, in agreement with the U.S. Forest Service. And so that joint venture it's another escape route too in terms of Curry County during emergencies. Like I said, we are very proud of our staffs here. Last Tuesday, we went up, or a week ago Tuesday, we went up to all the county properties that are accessible only by river, no roads, and I was very impressed with Assessor Cullen and his crew, those four that worked for him. Boy, every time that boat stopped, it was like the soldiers hitting the beach. They were up and not just the lodges, but all the private property as well. And they'll have a report. You know, those three of those lodges are very important to our TLT program. One doing theirs Half Moon, and of course Paradise has been paying into it, or wants to do all they can to promote visitor activity in Curry County. So, and we already heard a report on the fair. Well, the Marine Board noise regulations, that's going to come up on the 28th. I'll be at that meeting, and I want to see how that's going to impact boaters in Oregon, our fishermen, and our tour boats. The tour boats are very quiet and have very good noise abatement systems. We started many years ago. So, Mr. Chair, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner updates from myself. As liaison to the maintenance department, the courthouse and jail, we've got a little project going. There's some by the sheriff's office, right underneath John Ward's office is it's concrete. It's not stucco. It's concrete on metal that is rusted. And it's ready to fall off. So we have a fella that is going to. I think it's the same family that does like the rock walls. I did some out here.
Yeah.
They're really good at, and we're going to look at trying to seal that building because we don't have $100 million to tear it down and rebuild it. So that's all I have. We're going to recess this and go into executive session. So thank you folks for coming and being just diligent to stick around. 10-minute break, yeah, let's do that. Well, let's just meet here at 12:15 or 3:15, 12:15 tonight.
So is this a different executive?
Why do counties matter? Simple. Counties provide the services we all depend on. If you're concerned about crime, get a regular flu shot. Drive to work. Take public transportation. Or experience a natural disaster in your community. Chances are you benefit from county services. That's why counties matter. With America's system of federalism, counties are a key level of government, serving the people directly. So, do you vote? Had a recent hospital stay? Know someone in a nursing home? More reasons why counties matter. There are 3,069 counties across the country, with populations big and small. Most of us live and work in one. Even the nation's capital is considered a county. These county governments ensure that the food you eat in restaurants is safe. They care for the mentally ill, run court systems, build local economies, and operate 911 emergency systems. They manage parks and recreation facilities. And the list goes on. Thing is, counties serve the American people in so many ways, keeping our communities healthy, vibrant, safe, and fiscally sound. That's why counties matter.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
If yours is the next big idea, and you need the right place to fine-tune it, build it, launch it, if you're only your best when you can play more than you work, if inspiration comes from the outside, you belong in Curry County. The westernmost point of the land you love, and the edge between familiar and uncharted. Break the pattern. Be where the airports are as close as the beaches, and industry and recreation never cease to amaze. Dock, dive, and dine in a single day, and never lose your connection. This is the threshold of the West. Live where you can do you, and do it well, at the farthest point from ordinary. Curry County, living on the edge.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
One of the things I really appreciate about our entire region is that we embrace who we are, and I think that's what unifies us. Once the timber and fishing industries collapsed, it took us a long time to get back on our feet. People didn't quite grasp the idea that once these jobs left, they weren't going to get other family wage jobs, and it crippled us.
Things were getting really dire. So we just saw that this was an opportunity to maybe look at that public land a little differently and how it could bring more dollars into our region.
The Wild Rivers Coast is so unique because there are more wild and scenic rivers here than anywhere else in the lower 48 states. The scenic beauty is just amazing. There's so many different places to go, from the national forest down to the protected ocean, and it's just a really special place.
I guess I didn't really know how special it was, though, until I moved away to Portland and came back and saw all the potential here.
We're uncrowded, we're unspoiled, and we're a little difficult to get to, but my God, once you come here, you fall in love.
We just thought if we could pull people to come into this Wild Rivers Coast and stay longer and explore a little farther into our backcountry, there was a lot of opportunities for them to experience.
I think our whole future is at stake here. This area is ready to go. We just need to give it a little kick in the butt.
I'm gonna be honest, when the Rural Tourism Studio came here, I was skeptical because I didn't see far enough ahead that we actually could collaborate regionally, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It's been amazing.
The Rural Tourism Studios was the first time we were able to come together as a region to talk about the future of our economy.
If we can have a strong tourism economy in this area, it's going to benefit the whole community.
We have to rely on ourselves, and I think through this program, it's sort of opened our eyes to what we could do when we work together. Community leaders really focused on 3 areas: outdoor recreation, food and agricultural tourism, and really building community relationships.
In our area, a lot of the food that's grown all gets shipped away. And so now we're realizing that we can capture some of that local food that's grown here. The Eat Fresh and Local Action Team has hosted a series of networking events bringing together the area growers with the area vendors so that we could have more local food available to the visitors to our area. And now we're seeing more local food in our grocery stores, in our restaurants, and we have a new local food co-op.
We created a farm trail from Bandon to Port Orford. We did 9 U-Pick farms, and it just gained traction, and people loved it.
Langlois is less than 500 people. It's very small. So we have to bring in tourists. And being on the farm trail, even though it's just beginning, has really helped do that. We really want to make it a destination for anybody. My mom and I began Dragonfly Farm just 3 years ago. When I found out that I could grow a seed and turn that into food, it was like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't you do this? I just quit my day job and I just signed the paper to be an official co-owner of the farm. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life and grow with the community.
Out of the Outdoor Recreation Action Team, we came up with a series of maps that show where the best places to go recreate are. We know where we're going to send people now, and we got a great map that shows all the best places to go see.
For us to get a mapping project done to this extent is pretty impressive. We're patting ourselves on the back. I don't know if anybody else is, but we're doing it.
From that, we decided that there was some places that needed help, so we came up with a mountain bike plan, and we also worked on designating a state scenic bikeway. The Outdoor Recreation Action Team was also looking at how we can make scuba diving better in this area. So we came up with the idea for a scuba fill station. So now people that want to come and dive in this area, they can dive for multiple days because they can get their tanks filled up again. When I started the Rural Tourism Studio, my business, South Coast Tours, was really small. And now we've grown to about 5 or 6 guides, and we're doing tours all over from Brookings all the way up to Coos Bay.
Overall, tourism is on the rise here. We've had a bang-up last 2 years, and it's like a breath of fresh air down here.
My hope for the area is that we still keep that sense of place.
Loving a place to death is a big concern that I have, and it's a balance. We're going to promote tourism, but we want to do it in a sustainable way. One of the biggest reasons that this area has been so successful since the tourism studio is the people that are involved. We have a lot of great, motivated, smart people who understand the need to promote tourism in the right way, and it's really all about the people.
When you live in a rural community like we do, from Bandon down to Brookings, and you're strapped for cash, relationships are crucial.
As a community, I think you need to come together and find out what your mission and goals are collectively. Then you can work into smaller groups, knowing that you have the backing of the whole community behind you.
As long as everybody's just super excited about it and passionate about what they're doing and they can work together, then anything's possible.
Own what you have and don't try to be something that you're not. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna take a long time. So roll up your sleeves and just dig in with an open mind.
How many letters?
5 letters.
Just think about, what am I doing right now?
Smile. Smile?
Uh-huh.
This is so easy.
Wildfire, as everyone knows, has emerged as one of the big major issues affecting Oregon and, for that matter, all western states. A real actionable response that's including how do we fight fire, actively managing our forests so that we don't have the fuels out there, and how are we going to protect communities from smoke exposures. The council is really set up to have a comprehensive strategy that's based on action and based on protecting our communities.
The primary focus we as a board have come through with is that in researching the policies for fire management, yes, prescribed fire has its place on the landscape, but not during fire season. We, as a county, passed a proclamation that says once the state fire marshal declares fire season, it'll be nothing but full suppression, and recently took a resolution to the National Association of Counties, essentially says that they support coordination between agencies and local governments for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens regarding fire, prescribed fire, fire season, anything that affects our citizens.
This is Lily Morgan from Josephine County, and we are at the Rogue Leadership Forum today, looking at the best possible partnerships that we can come up with to fight the fire issues and the smoke issues that we're facing in Southwest Oregon. So looking forward to coming up with solutions and the partnerships to get the job done so we don't face what we have the last few years with catastrophic fires and smoke that invades our communities for months to come. So this is a good opportunity, and we hope to be successful in the outcome.
Seeing so many people come together has really been exciting for me because there's a lot of expertise, there's a lot of resources, and as we attempt to do a shared stewardship approach to keeping people safe, it's really important that we get together. So my name is Merv George Jr., and I'm the Forest Supervisor for the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest. The first things is making sure to get fires out if they're threatening life and property. The second thing that I'm going to focus in on is when it's safe to do so, to put some fire on the landscape when it's cooler and not during fire season to reduce these same fuels that are giving us so much fits during the fire season.
Bob Horton, I'm the fire chief of Jackson County Fire District 3 in Southern Oregon. The challenges that are facing us in terms of the mega fires and the wildfires that we've been experiencing out in this valley, particularly in the last couple of years, but across the state and across the region, incredibly concerning to us in the fire community, those in our communities in general, our constituents and our patrons are extremely concerned, as they ought to be. And really the takeaway from the work that's being done now is this is an extraordinary collaboration of dozens on dozens of interested stakeholder groups who are coming together with a common purpose. It's really an inspiring showing of humanity to not only be able to provide for a greater quality of life for our people, but to be strong stewards of our land, so that our future for us and generations to come is incredibly bright.
Very pressing issue. It's bearing down on us. Fire season is approaching, and I am really interested in preventing my home and other homes in my community from being impacted by wildfire, specifically from being burnt down. That's my main reason for being involved.
Quite a collaboration of folks. We're here looking for practical solutions to help us unravel some of the issues surrounding wildfires today here in the state of Oregon. And my focus really is on planning for large wildfire events in advance of their occurrence. That way, when they do occur, we can respond more appropriately to those situations.
Well, I just think it's grand if all of the people all over the state have come together today to be concerned about water. It just warms my heart, because I know that they really will leave here today feeling more impressed about the water, because I have told them that we're all born in water. We cannot live without it. It's our job to take care of it, stop the garbage in the rivers and streams and oceans, because there's life in that water, and it's our job to keep it clean for them. Because we cannot live on this planet without the animal kingdom. I was in Ohio at the Ohio River with Dr. Emoto, the Japanese scientist who had proven water could heal. He and I stood on the riverbank and rested the Ohio River that they had us come to do. And I prayed that God has still kept the river good for them over there. We were taught when we were little that prayer works. You too will remember your prayers, because they work. It has nothing to do with religion or church.
What draws you to the Oregon coast? Is it the green and blue surf on a brilliant sunny day, or angry boiling waves during a raging winter storm? Do you prefer quiet coves or powerful breakers churning the sand? How about sand castles? Do you come for the rising tide or the setting sun, to marvel at whales gliding through the sea or flying in the sky? Reasons to travel the Pacific Coast Scenic Byway are as far-reaching as your imagination. This is a spectacular part of Oregon that traces the entire coastline along Highway 101, guiding you to the sea and away again, to coastal towns big and small, lowland marshes, and breathtaking overlooks. It's a long byway stretching from the mouth of the Columbia River to the California border, 363 miles in all, of some of the most unblemished, awe-inspiring seascapes you'll find anywhere. In addition to its designation as a scenic byway, Highway 101 in Oregon also has been selected as an all-American road. That means when you come here, you will experience one of only 31 roads considered to be the best of the best in America.
You know, when people come to the Oregon coast, they're really astonished how beautiful it is, and what separates it from many of the other places in North America that are coastal is how undeveloped it is. And that's because Oregon had a very far-sighted land use program back in the 1970s. We have all these wonderful state parks along the scenic byway that are perfect places to stop and enjoy nature in a relatively unspoiled way.
From the north, you begin in Astoria, the first permanent European settlement in the Pacific Northwest. It's a genuine maritime community with ship traffic from around the world seeking harbor up the Columbia. The official State Maritime Museum of Oregon sits here on the river. Beautiful Victorian houses dot the hillside. And standing 600 feet above sea level is the 125-foot Astoria Column. It features a hand-painted spiral frieze that would stretch over 500 feet if unwound. Heading south, you'll find the community of Seaside, a popular vacation spot that offers miles of public beaches, an oceanfront promenade, and a downtown core packed with restaurants, shops, and even a beach-type arcade. Cannon Beach is home to one of Oregon's most photographed natural wonders, Haystack Rock. Get your shots from the beach, or take a short drive up to Ecola State Park and look down on this 235-foot work of art. The picturesque small town is filled with art galleries, shops, and cafes. Ready for more? 10 miles to the south, this is the view from Cape Falcon. You're 700 feet above the Pacific. Here, the Pacific Coast Byway has been carved out of Neahkahnie Mountain and held in place by stone walls built in the 1930s by craftsmen in the Civilian Conservation Corps. Upon descending the mountain, the highway drifts inward around Tillamook Bay to Tillamook, the unofficial dairy capital of Oregon. The verdant valley of dairy farms in this area produces 25 million gallons of milk annually. Much of that is processed into natural cheddar cheese. And near more than 800 miles of navigable waters, Tillamook is a crossroads for North Coast recreation. From here, you owe it to yourself to veer off Highway 101 to explore the Three Capes Scenic Loop. This drive places you right at the beach, beginning with Cape Mears, home to the shortest lighthouse in Oregon. 9 lighthouses stand sentinel along Oregon's coastline. They're monuments to our maritime heritage, towering links to the past, and as much a part of the rugged Oregon coastal landscape as any offshore monolith. The Cape Mears Lighthouse was first illuminated in 1890. Oregon's oldest lighthouse is at Cape Blanco, the westernmost point in the state. It was commissioned in 1870 to aid shipping generated by gold mining and the lumber industry. The 93-foot-high Yaquina Head Lighthouse is the tallest in Oregon. Today, its automated light continues to aid navigation at the entrance to Yaquina Bay. Many of the lighthouses are open to the public. Most happen to be excellent places to view nesting seabirds and offshore sea life. Tide pools, those rocky areas between high and low tides, support unique and diverse plants and animals. Vast amounts of colorful, otherworldly creatures wait to be discovered. But walk cautiously. These organisms are tough enough to withstand the pounding surf, but are utterly vulnerable to human activity. Wildlife and sea life abound on the coast.
There are 6 national wildlife refuges along the Oregon coast. The Pacific Coast Scenic Byway bisects these refuges or goes alongside them. It provides you the opportunity to see a wide variety of abundant wildlife, including seabirds, seals and sea lions, deer and elk, and many other wildlife.
Cape Kiwanda lies at the southern end of the Three Capes Scenic Loop, near the town of Pacific City. Here you'll find a second Haystack Rock on the byway. Hike up the dune to marvel at stunning views of sandstone formations as they turn yellow, gold, or even red in the changing sunlight. If your timing is right, you'll spot 1 or 2 of the dory fleet sprint onto the beach after a day of fishing. How's this for a dinner setting? Restaurants along the Pacific Coast Scenic Byway accommodate just about any taste. Many serve an ocean view with every meal. Up and down the coast, you'll find seafood, of course, but don't limit yourself just because you're by the water. The Central Coast begins around Lincoln City, which is one of the larger communities on the byway. It has a reputation for being windy and was recognized by Kite Lines magazine as the best place to fly a kite in North America. It was incorporated from several small towns and as a result offers a sandy beach that is 7.5 miles long. A number of small state parks lie nestled along the ocean between Lincoln City and Newport. Stop, get out of your car, and take in the commanding views that are there, right next to your all-American road. Depot Bay boasts the world's smallest navigable harbor, 6 square acres in all. A seawall runs the length of the downtown, so everywhere you go, you're rewarded with a dramatic view of the Pacific. It's considered Oregon's whale-watching capital, with thousands making their way past Oregon each fall and spring. Fishing and whale-watching excursions regularly set sail from this little harbor. Leaving Depot Bay, you'll soon find yourself at Cape Foulweather, a basalt outcropping that looms 500 feet above the water. It was here, in 1778, British Captain James Cook first sighted the mainland of North America on the Pacific coast. A fierce storm that almost put an end to his expedition earned this rugged stretch of coastline its name. Coastal weather can change by the hour. You will find a lot of wet days, but rain can become blue sky with white clouds in an afternoon. Mist kissing the headlands burns away, or storms can last for days. Some people come for those storms. Whether you find sunbursts of happiness or cloud cover like a quilt, there's always a reason to come back. Like Lincoln City, Newport is one of the larger towns on the byway. The historic bayfront on the north side of Yaquina Bay hosts one of Oregon's largest commercial fishing fleets. It has a busy, genuine working waterfront feel, with fish plants and boats coming and going from as far away as Alaska. On the south side of the bay is the Oregon Coast Aquarium. Share waters beneath the ocean with sharks and rays. And don't miss the sea otters at mealtime.
Now, all 4 of our otters were rescued otters. They were found out in the wild.
For the next 50 miles, your trip along Highway 101 hugs the coast. Many more state parks offer opportunities to stop and take in outstanding vistas, crashing waves, and offshore rock formations. 2 small towns of note are Waldport and Yachats. Waldport sits on Alsea Bay, where fishing, clamming, and crabbing are popular. The 40-mile stretch south of Waldport marks steep headlands, jagged volcanic outcrops, and jaw-dropping scenery, the rugged edge of the Oregon coast. Yachats is a quiet, unhurried artist town just a couple of miles north of Cape Perpetua. Drive to the top of this bluff, and you'll be 800 feet above the water. On a clear day, you can see 70 miles of Oregon coastline. Drive past Heceta Head Lighthouse to the Sea Lion Caves. A quick elevator ride 200 feet down puts you in America's largest sea cave, the year-round home of wild stellar sea lions. Rugged cliffs give way to graceful beaches as you approach Florence. In the spring, be on the lookout for wild rhododendrons along the roadsides. Similar to Newport, you'll find an historic Old Town commercial district along the Siuslaw River. Florence is the gateway to the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area, a 47-mile sandbox of wind-sculpted sand dunes towering 500 feet above sea level. These are the largest expanse of coastal sand dunes in North America. Reedsport is at the center of the Oregon Dunes, but you can do more than ride a dune buggy or motorcycle. A short 3 miles east of town on Highway 38, more than 100 Roosevelt elk reside at the Dean Creek Elk Viewing Area. Early mornings or just before dusk are the best times to photograph the herd. Paying homage to Oregon's timber heritage, Reedsport hosts an annual Chainsaw Sculpting Championship, a time to watch 3-dimensional artwork come to life right before your eyes. Mountains of sand continue at Winchester Bay. You'll also find an active marina here. It's a great place to try your hand at crabbing or take a charter for salmon or bottom fishing. The dunes end and you enter the coast's largest urban area at Coos Bay. It has the deepest natural harbor between Seattle and San Francisco. Foreign vessels sail under the massive McCullough Bridge. You may have noticed, dotted along the Pacific Coast Scenic Byway are many beautiful and iconic bridges. The Megler Bridge in Astoria, Yaquina Bay Bridge in Newport, Alsea Bay Bridge in Waldport, Siuslaw River Bridge in Florence, and the magnificent McCullough Bridge in Coos Bay are works of art in their own right. Charleston is slightly off the byway at the mouth of the bay. It was once an old waterfront fishing village and has become a commercial and sport fishing center. From here, the Charleston to Bandon tour route offers another side trip off the byway. It's a wonderful way to explore a variety of natural Pacific Coast beauty in a number of settings: beaches, vistas, gardens, and more. Giant sea stacks, a tiny lighthouse, and an old town await you in Bandon. Do you like to golf? This remote area on the Oregon coast has not one, but 3 of the most stunning and challenging golf courses in the world. As you drive south of town, look for brilliant red bogs in the fall. You're passing through the cranberry capital of Oregon. After a trek through forests and farmlands, you'll reach Port Orford. The wild coast has begun. You're in the most westerly city in the continental United States, and you've reached some of the most awesome scenery on the byway. Here you can watch a fishing fleet launched by crane in one of only 6 dolly ports in the world. Port Orford covers less than 2 square miles. It's similar to many communities that call this all-American road home. Small in size, still with a lot to offer. Like Manzanita, with a vibrant business district and beautiful setting at the base of Neahkahnie Mountain. You can board a fishing charter out of Garibaldi, swim in freshwater lakes near Dune City, catch world-class windsurfing at Pistol River. There's little development from Port Orford to Gold Beach, outlet for the renowned Rogue River. Feel like going for a ride? Jet boat excursions run from May into October up this wild and scenic river. Or maybe a midday walk on an uncrowded beach is more your speed. The last dozen miles of the Pacific Coast Byway leading into Brookings save some of the best for last. Treat yourself to frequent stops along the Samuel H. Boardman Scenic Corridor. Short hikes reward you with the best views in this shining stretch of coastline. Walk, relax, and be amazed along the coves and the crashing surf. The world's northernmost redwood grove is 8 miles from the mouth of the Chetco River in Brookings. So, you've toured nature's finest art museum. You've dined elegantly, hung out with sea lions, unwound like you wish you could every day. What else is there to do? Step back in history near Astoria. Ride a horse along the waves near Florence. Pet a baby tiger near Bandon. Hike a trail, sample gourmet cheese, eat fresh-caught crab, watch a sunset.
When you come to the Oregon coast and walk on the beaches or go to the headlands and go to the small coastal towns, you really can commune with nature, and you don't have huge numbers of people, but you're also able to take in one of America's last great unspoiled seascapes.
So what draws you to the Oregon coast? What favorite places lure you back again and again? Each visit is different. The ocean, the sky, the light, and the experience always continue to amaze. Shouldn't you be there?
There's something about having land and sea. Never having to choose between digging in or looking out. Here, you can go where the spirit or the wind moves you. To the tops of the trees, along secluded beaches, or into more wild and scenic rivers than anywhere else in the western United States. We're the closest place to the sunset, while still keeping your feet dry, and a destination where anyone can begin. We share more than we keep, so you can see more than you imagined. This is a place you have to touch, hold, and feel to believe. The entire shoreline of the West Coast's best coast is open to you, and playgrounds made of forests are waiting for you. Escape to Curry County and don't leave anything out.
Roadway departure fatalities are a serious and often preventable problem in the United States. The Federal Highway Administration reports that 54% of all highway fatalities are caused by drivers leaving their lane of travel. The Oregon Department of Transportation is taking a proactive approach to reduce this kind of tragedy by implementing a centerline and shoulder rumble strip program.
Rumble strips are one of the most low-cost, cost-effective countermeasures that we can apply across the system.
Rumble strips are grooved patterns on the roadway that make a rumbling sound and a physical vibration, immediately warning inattentive drivers that they're leaving their driving lane. Rumble strips allow drivers to self-correct and avoid an accident.
About 67% of fatal crashes in Oregon are road departure crashes, which are a vehicle can leave the lane to the right and hit a ditch or a rock or a tree, something like that, or cross over the center line to the left and get in a head-on collision or a sideswipe meeting type crash.
Over an 8-year period, ODOT engineers studied segments of 16 different highways and concluded that rumble strips are highly effective at reducing lane departures.
We did a before and after crash analysis to find that we have reduced head-on fatalities by 40% with the installation of centerline rumble strips.
We've been trying to find a way to deal with a problem that seems to be increasing over the last 10 or 15 years with our drivers, and that's distracted driving. And there's a lot of things that cause distracted driving. All these distractions are things that make people take their attention away from where it should be.
Comparisons between other available safety features like guardrail and concrete barriers show that shoulder and centerline rumble strips are the most cost-effective safety treatment available.
We're finding that those are very effective in trying to make sure that when you do make that mistake, it's not the last mistake you make. They help bring your attention back to the driving task and bring you back to where you should be, focusing on being in the middle of your lane and being safe.
ODOT makes a conscious effort to use a bike-friendly rumble strip design where possible and installs 12-foot bike gaps every 48 feet of rumble strip. ODOT understands that rumble strips create a noise that can be disruptive for people who live near rural highways, and we're trying to address these concerns with different approaches.
For the noise, we're looking at some new designs. We're hoping that the new design rumble strip will be just as effective at saving people from making an error and much quieter, on the order of 10 times as quiet. And we're actually going to be installing our first full set of these style of rumble strips along 205 this summer.
So we recognize that noise is a concern, but one of the things I like to tell people is whenever you hear the sound of a rumble strip, it could be the sound of the life being saved of one of your loved ones.
Rumble strips are proven to save lives. The Oregon Department of Transportation is taking the lead in implementing the sound of safety.
Hi there, I'm Patrick Priest, Executive Director at CIS. And I really enjoy coming every year to this conference because CIS, we are all about counties. We are owned by counties. We were formed by the AOC. This is a great occasion for us to meet everybody in one place and learn what's important to the counties all across Oregon.
It's the networking. I mean, we learn a lot about the different issues that counties deal with, but it's networking with other commissioners, getting ideas on how they handle situations that is the most helpful for me.
I love my job. It actually matters to me on a daily basis. I used to do a lot of charity, and, you know, in commissioning.
All right, welcome back, folks. We are done with executive session. We have directed staff to work as directed. We're going to take a break right now. Higher order. We got a higher order, so I entertain a motion to accept that higher order.
So move, Mr. Chair, on the higher order for Frank Jerome.
All right. Do I got a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Frank Jerome. You are the next Curry County Finance Director starting August 1st. So,
good.
Yeah. So Monday, August 1st. We'll recess for 15 minutes and be back here for a hearing at 4 o'clock. That's it, Eric. Lights off.